Happy Fitness Friday. I'm gonna try to do my dual stream. So I'm gonna go ahead and press the live over here on Instagram. So if you see me going back and forth, it's because I'm streaming on both platforms, which is I forgot to do last week. So sorry, Instagram. I forgot about you last Friday. Morning, Gio. So if you're here, please let me know you're here. I'm excited to see you and be with you here this morning. I have some cool stuff to talk about. I call this Fitness Friday, but gosh, we sometimes, after I polled you in the group here, we kind of we start to talk about these really super fun things like mindset shifts and how to really take your power back by controlling your mind and learning how to unpack old baggage. And we're going to talk about that today. And I'm super excited because I love talking about this stuff. Because this is where the magic happens in your fitness and in your life, right? You can really have a great result when, good morning, guys, good morning, and stuff. You can really have a great result in your life when you start to understand how to slay your dragons and how to get past those old belief systems. So if you're here this morning, let me know. Say hi to me. I will be putting this up on my YouTube channel later because this is going to be a good one. Oh my God, you guys, I just realized that my shirt matches my drapes. That's really funny. Okay. Oh God, sometimes. All right, so good morning. Hi, Mary Beth. Okay, you guys, let me know you're here. So I want to start. I'm going to start talking to you today. Hang on for the ride. It's going to be about a 15-minute live this morning, but it's worth it, I promise. I'm going to go over some really awesome stuff that you can put into action right now to create a result in your life. So this is going to apply to fitness, but it's also going to apply to just things that are, even bigger in your life, right? Okay, so let's get going. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is I'm going to lay all that out for you, but first I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to tell you two little stories, and I'll try to make it quick, but I want to get this point across to you, so listen carefully. So there's this doctor at Yale. Her name's Dr. Aaliyah Crum, and I love Dr. Aaliyah Crum. She's an athlete, but she's also an amazing, she studies a lot of psychology, how the brain works. Well, she did this experiment. And this experiment she did is she went into a hotel service company, and she went and she interviewed 125 of their housekeepers. And you guys know housekeeping is super active. Like you're, moving around all day, you're vacuuming, you're cleaning stuff. When you're cleaning your house really well, you're moving. And she went in and polled 125 women, and she said, "Hey, do you guys think you're physically active? Do you think you exercise? Do you think that that you get a lot of exercise?" They're like, "No, we don't get any exercise." Okay. So then she came back a couple weeks later and she showed them a 15-minute video. A 15-minute video. 75 showed this video to, 75 she didn't. So the 75 women that she showed the video to, the video was all about, hey, you get lots of exercise. You should be getting all the benefits of exercise because you're getting what the Surgeon General says you should be getting. You're getting over 30 minutes of activity a day. You should be getting better blood pressure. You should be losing body fat. You should be getting all the benefits of an exercise program. And I'm going to be looking over here because I've got Instagram too. So sorry, guys. Well, they're like, wow, 15 minutes. Okay, so they came back 3 months later. 3 months later, they came back. The group that they showed the video to, guess what happened? The group that they showed the 15-minute video to, they actually believed what they were told. And they all lost weight. All of them lost weight, you guys. All of them had a drop in their systolic blood pressure, and all of them lost body fat. All of them, and the 75 women that were showed this 15-minute video. How powerful is that study? How powerful is that? When you can understand that what we are shown and what we believe is what we become. That's phenomenal power, right? Guess what happened to 75 others? Nothing changed. It just blows my mind. Like it makes me just think that there's so much possible when we learn to shift our mindset. So here we go. Here's another story for you really quickly. This is a moment of vulnerability for me. Yesterday, I launched my first webinar. Yesterday. Guess what happened? Anybody have any guess what happened? It wasn't a huge success. No. I wasn't able to help people yesterday. No one signed up for my program. Not a lot of people registered. Not a lot of people showed up. I wasn't able to really fully help some people yesterday. I disconnected somewhere, right? But my old self would have went, I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid to really step into my power and stand up for people and say, hey, you really need this program. It's going to change your life. I'm going to take a stand for you. But normally I'd be like, oh, I can't do that. I don't want to be pushy. But you know what? That's not how my mind works anymore. That's my old fears, my old mindset, my old belief systems that comes in and starts to take over. But now I've learned to pull myself out of that. And I'm going to show you how that too, because I could have gone in a downward spiral, you guys. I could have just given up and been like, oh, darn it, I'm not good at this. That could have easily happened to me yesterday, but it didn't happen. And I'm here again today, showing up for you because I believe in what I do. I believe in helping people, and it is my purpose. So, I mean, how many people would I not be able to help if I just gave up at that? How many people would still be suffering, would not be able to finally have the results that they want in their life and their health and their fitness if I just decided to, oh, that one little setback is going to throw me back into my old belief systems? A lot of us do that. And if you do that, I'm going to help you right now unhook from that, unpack that. So you guys ready? Okay, here we go. So there's two really strategic ways our mind works. And there's two strategies we can have to combat how our mind kind of packs up that negative mindset and those shifts, those things that happen where we just get caught up in that downward spiral. So our subconscious mind likes to be just really complacent, right? Our subconscious mind likes to throw us right into those fears and right into those old belief patterns because it's easy. We've been there. We've already dealt with that. So it's an easy way for our mind to just go. We're easily just led down that direction of, oh yeah, this is my life. I'm not a good athlete. I'm always going to be overweight. My family's overweight. Whatever that looks like, right? I'm not smart enough. That's why I didn't go to try to take the SATs to get into college that I wanted. Your mind is automatically going to go there because it's easy. And it wants that. It wants to shift itself there, okay? It subconsciously stays there. It stays there and it doesn't go anywhere. So until you learn to understand where your thoughts are going, until you learn to understand how to manage them, and until you learn to take control of them in a conscious way, and not only take control of them, but put them into action, they will continue to pull you into the old belief systems. We all have traumas. We all have traumas. We all have them. We all have things that happened to us in our past. We all have people in our past that created traumas for us. We all have a different level of what that looks like. We all do, you guys. All of us do. We all have been victim of something in our lives. We've all had horrible things happen. There's something there that's been said. Even if you haven't had a lot of adversity, you might even have that person in your life tell you you're not smart enough. Why you keep trying? You're not a good athlete. You're not this. You're not that. Right? Yeah, it is crazy, Mary Beth. Mary Beth saying it's crazy. We've all had that, you guys. You have to unpack that. Okay, now there's a few tools and techniques I'm going to give you right now to unpack that and how to retrain your conscious thought and retrain your conscious mind. And I went over this yesterday in my webinar. And I give you 5 tools in my webinar of how to unpack food fear, but it also is how to unpack, not only you can relate it to food fear, but we talked yesterday in our live, it's how to unpack anything. And honestly, all the things and the control mechanisms that we have and the compulsions and obsessions around food are really just a manifestation of those old fears and belief systems. It's really the truth, okay? So let's talk about this for a second. So in order to unpack that, there's one key component that you must do and everyone has to do, and you've got to forgive. You've got to not only either forgive yourself for allowing that to control your life, but you've got to forgive the person, place, or thing that maybe put you in that space. The person, place, or thing that maybe caused you to think, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm not worthy. When was that actually happen? What happened to you in your life? Who said that to you? Who made you feel that way the first time? You've got to forgive them fully and completely and with love and compassion. You have to. That is the first number 1 step. You have to. You guys see that on Instagram? I'm looking at Instagram because I want everybody to see. So that's the first step. The next thing is you have to be aware of your thoughts and where they're going. A lot of us go through our life and autopilot. Autopilot is where we go. We're directly on autopilot all the time. And so when we're on autopilot, we don't recall, we don't consciously think about where our mind is going. So we have to train ourselves to be aware. Hi guys, hi Insta. You have to train your brain to be aware of where it's going. You have to train your thought pattern to understand, okay, that's where I'm going, because most of the time we're on autopilot and we don't recognize the constant inundation of telling ourselves this old belief pattern, an old system of thought. So what you've got to do is become aware, be present. When you become present and you can recognize where your thoughts are going, you can shift them. Now, that's not always the easy component, but there are tools you can use that I'm going to teach you that I also taught in my webinar yesterday, and you can still watch it on replay, by the way, but we learned this whole thing about how to create a manifesto. That's where I'm going with this, is in order to retrain your brain, you have to put more emphasis, and there's a lot, I've studied Brendon Burchard a lot, and a lot of this is from Brendon Burchard's book, but excuse me, you have to retrain your brain to put more importance on the outcome that you want and less importance on the negative. So you have to start thinking in that moment and that awareness, wow, where's my brain going? Is it going to the negative? No, I'm going to retrain it and refocus it and put more importance on where I want the outcome to go, the result I want to create. But how do you create importance? How do you create more importance for your brain? I'm going to tell you how. You put feeling to it. You put emotion to it. You put outcome to it. You don't just say it, you guys. You don't just say, I want this. I'm stronger. I'm more fit. I'm this. No, you put emotion to it. When I'm strong and fit, I can show up better for my family and I can live the best life I have. When I'm strong and fit, I can climb to the top of the mountain. How does that make you feel? Go back to a time in your life where you felt that and connect it. Get an emotional attachment to it. That's the only way to create change in your mindset. You've got to create the positive outcome and emotion attached to the positive outcome in that moment. And sometimes it's going to be hard to retrain your brain. And that's why I have you create a manifesto, because it makes you ask yourself these questions. What kind of a person do I want to be? What do I want to create in my life? What result do I want in my life? And you write this manifesto in a present tense. And that manifesto gets put into your phone. And you get a reminder 3 times a day of that manifesto, of who you are, who you want to be, who you currently are in present tense, and your life is kind of unfolding in that way. So we went over this manifesto tool, and I actually helped you write one yesterday in my webinar. And it is still on replay, so you guys can still do that with me. So if you want to register, let me know. But you go through this manifesto, you create this manifesto for what your life is going to look like, because it's based on what you truly embody as who you want to be. Okay? Instead of what your belief system has guided you to think that you are, right? Make sense? Okay, so that's part of putting that into action. I'm sorry, that's part of retraining your thought pattern so that you can put it into action. So now you've retrained your thought pattern so that you can unpack those old unhealthy habits. And now you've got to put it into action. So the other part is we started with number 1 and we kind of worked through that, which was forgiveness. And I'm going to go to the last one, which is this is completely how I feel about how to change your mindset. And the best way for me, in my opinion, is to, number 1 was forgiveness, and we went over that. The second one was generosity. Hi, Jennifer. Good morning. Think about generosity. So think about when you're in action and when you're trying to change your mindset. Can you really be in a self-negative train of thought when you're generously giving? Can you? Can you really be outward facing 100% and then also still have negative stuff going on in your inside of yourself? Can you really fully give and outwardly put that to the world generously as possible, giving to give, and still be caught in a negative mindset? I challenge you on that. I challenge you on that, because I'm telling you right now, if you give to give, if you generously are outward facing instead of inward facing, and you give people around you love, support, and you generously give that not only will change your mindset and put you into an action space of positivity, but I promise you, when you're in that mindset and you're in that generous giving mindset, you cannot have the negative stuff come up. It just doesn't happen. It empowers you in a personal way, and it puts emotion to the action. So you're putting yourself in the action of generosity and positivity. And it's taking away from the train of thought of those negative self-limiting beliefs that are causing you to not create the greatest result in your life. Because that's what happens when you give. That's what happens when you give. So forgive and then give. So those are my two main focusing points of today's live. And I went through again about how to create that manifesto, and I went over that in my webinar yesterday. How to actually decide to put more emotion to changing it into a positive outcome instead of the negative outcome. And that manifesto helps with that, right? I'm glad you guys are here and showing up. Thanks for giving me the thumbs up, because otherwise I think sometimes I'm talking to space. So we talked about the forgiveness piece. So you've got to forgive first. And if you haven't watched this whole thing, go back. This is a great, great live. It'll really help you. And again, I talk about how Brandon Burchard's book really helps me, but I love Brandon Burchard. Thanks to you guys. I love him. And a lot of this comes from his teachings, but the two that I put my spin on it with is the way that I've managed my mind is number one, forgiveness, and number two, generosity. So do you guys have any questions on that? I know this is a very different kind of fitness Friday, but it really does all go back to it, because I have to tell you this right now. If you're on a weight loss journey, if you're on a fitness journey, the emotional weight you're carrying is a direct relationship of the physical weight you're carrying. I promise you right now, it's tried and true. So if you've got a lot of stuff, if you've got a lot of negative mindsets, you keep going back to the belief systems of I've always been overweight, I've always been, not a good athlete, all these things, you're gonna keep going back there unless you can disconnect and unpack from that. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being here. I don't see any questions yet. Hi, Instagram. Thanks for being here. I didn't stream with you live last week. I'm sorry. I totally forgot. I apologize. But I'll be here again next Friday. Every Friday at 9:30 a.m. I come live, and we vote in our group on Facebook. It's called the Thrive Tribe. And you guys tell me what you want to hear. So this week it was about unpacking the unhealthy mindset so you can create better results in your life. And so I messed up the title on it on Facebook. I'll change it, but that's what this is about. So if you haven't listened to the whole thing, please go back and check it out. And I hope that you got something out of it today. And I will pop my link here for the replay on the webinar. If you missed it, you should check it out for sure. And remember that you've got to forgive, and then today make it a really generous day. Okay? All right, you guys, have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Bye.